It's no secret that heavy rail rapid transit, or metro, systems move thousands and thousands of people, especially at peak times. Maybe your city even runs some weekday-only express trains to better serve commuters and meet that extra demand. But what about a subway service that only operates on Saturday after 11 a.m.? Sounds unthinkable, right? Well, that's what I thought up until pretty recently. Let's take a ride on the U8 in Munich, Germany.
Howdy and welcome back to Saturday, March 8th, 2025. I'm in Munich. I'm at Olympiazentrum on the U3, the U3. Normally. Today, it's a Saturday, so there's also the U8, the U8. And the first one's going to come through in a couple minutes. We're going to wait for that, but effectively, it doubles the frequency of trains at the station. Normally, it's every 10 on, I think most times on weekdays. Saturday becomes every 5 or thereabouts.
Olympiazentrum opened in 1972 to serve the site of the 1972 Munich Olympics. So it is one of the older stations on the system. It has 4 tracks and usually just sees the U3. However, on Saturdays, as I mentioned before, it also sees the U8, which in the morning for this first train it appeared that it only used the outer platform, but later in the day they very much do use that middle platform capacity. Cool, I think this is the short turning one. I saw this only going to Cited, which is a really interesting service pattern. So, as it turns out, I was actually wrong here. I was actually reminded of New York City because in New York, you might be on a Manhattan-bound train from the Bronx, and then when you get to Manhattan, they'll say, oh, now it's a Brooklyn-bound train. Same thing happened with this U8 train. They said it was a Cited train, and then once you got to Cited, they said it was actually going further. Not sure why they did this because it was kind of confusing. I'm sure they had a reason, but later trains in the day just said they were going straight to Neuperlach from the get-go, so not really sure why they did it that way. But hey, it gives me excuses to put in more New York subway footage, which there are videos, they will come out eventually. I know I promised them. I've had a lot going on, moving to a new country for half a year, so stay tuned. What's cool about these, the Class Bs, they have these manual levers you have to pull to open the doors.
Next side, pit ready.
Seats are, somewhat comfortable. Not the most padding. DC Metro seats, I think, are a little comfier. But no, honestly, this leather, or maybe faux leather, I don't know. It's kind of classy.
Next side, Cited.
Alright, so for all intents and purposes, we are on a ghost train. This does not exist on the tracker. It's on Google Maps, weirdly enough, but the official station departure boards don't show it. No doors open in this car at Painful Ring. No one wanted to get her off. So, yeah, doors don't open unless you want them to. It's kind of efficient. It works.
Alright, we've already taken some unique trackage. We've gone from the U3 platform, which is on the right, to what is now the U2 trackage. So here I was admittedly a little confused because originally the train was just showing as going to Cited, but no, once we got to Cited, the destination board changed, and in fact it was a full-length running train.
Oh, no, it's not short turning, but I guess it is going to. Okay.
So these trains are not fully walk-through, not even in an emergency. You got a cab at this end and the window at the other end.
Alright, so we're now on U2 track into the U2. We've left U3 trackage, so it's at least at this point, it's a unique train.
To be clear, the Munich U-Bahn does not have stations that are only served on Saturdays, All U8 stations are also served by at least one other line during all operating hours, even on Saturdays. This line is rather an extra train running a different service pattern from what we see throughout the rest of the week. Oftentimes, U-Bahn trains on different lines will be scheduled into transfer stations at the same time for an easy cross-platform transfer. And if they aren't both there simultaneously, trains will often wait for the other train to arrive so passengers can make that transfer. The U8 reduces the need for these transfers, instead providing a one-seat ride from Olympiazentrum on the U3 east to Cited, where it switches onto southbound U2 trackage towards Hauptbahnhof. The U8 follows the U2 line until Innsbrucker Ring, where then it switches onto the U5 trackage down to Neuperlach Zentrum. Without the U8, a ride from Olympiazentrum to Neuperlach Zentrum would require at least one transfer. Not that most passengers on board are making that journey. But all those stations in between have more connectivity to other areas because of the U8. And we can't talk about the U8 without at least mentioning the U7. The U7 is also a limited service line, but unlike the U8, it runs only on weekdays. Starting in the southeast at Neuperlach Zentrum, the U7 runs the same route as the U8 until Hauptbahnhof. It then switches onto the U1 trackage to follow that line up to Olympiazentrum. Yes, Munich has stations called Olympiazentrum and Olympiazentrum almost right next to each other. So you could theoretically consider the U8 a weekend variant of the U7, although they do serve different sections of the north and west of the city. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a full video on the U7, as it's definitely a video I'd consider making.
Alright, I'm at Neuperlach Zentrum, and they've extended the train down to Neuperlach Süd, so no longer running typical U8 services. Usually this is covered by the U5. Train is out of service. So there's the U-Bahn, and this is the S-Bahn platform. This is about as cross-platform and intermodal as you can get. This is phenomenal. And of course you got buses down there. So this is actually my first time going above ground on the Münchner U-Bahn, but yeah, U8's not supposed to go above ground. So really what this first train function does was we're gonna say it's going to one place, and then we're gonna announce the next section that it's going to, and then at the end they just extended the line, I guess. I don't know. It worked out. I ended up way further than I was expecting to go, and by way further I mean 2 stations, so it's not the end of the world. Good bike parking right next to the station. So I guess this is one of the Siemens offices here, or the Siemens plant. I'm not really sure. But they're very much in Munich. So, cool. So I guess on it here, full circle after that U8 came in, the U8. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed. Comment what you want to see in Munich. I'll see you all next week. Ciao.